balanced, committed. This is the CBC Evening News.
And a very good evening to you. I'm Lisa Lord with the CBC Evening News. The 36th CARICOM Heads of Government Conference is underway following an opening ceremony which finished just moments ago at the Hilton. And it is there that we go live now to Lisa Broom. Lisa?
Thank you very much. And you're right, there was much pomp and pageantry here at the Barbados Hilton with the opening of the Heads of Government Conference. And of course, there were the speeches as expected. Now, in his presentation, the incoming chairman of CARICOM, Prime Minister Frendel Stuart, said Barbados and other countries in the region must not stop trying to make the integration movement a perfect one. Addressing the summit moments ago, he spoke out against people who criticize efforts made by the leaders. He said CARICOM governments must forge ahead to tackle a number of critical issues, including food security.
As leaders for the time being of our respective countries, we must accept the solemn responsibility which devolves on our shoulders to raise the gaze of our people to new and hitherto unimagined regional horizons. Nowhere is this more necessary than in the area of food security. For how much longer are we going to repeat that between the lands of Guyana, of Belize, and now also of Suriname, we have the veritable breadbasket of the Caribbean? Has the time not come? Is the hour not upon us when we must, in a structured manner, mobilize the idle hands in our region, around the idle lands in our region, and deal systematically with the food security issues we have been facing?
And earlier in the day, the Prime Minister sent a message to the United Nations and the international community about the priority issues facing Barbados and the region. He outlined the critical needs of CARICOM during the first dialogue of the regular meeting of Conference of Heads of Government. The Prime Minister's call was answered by the United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon before an audience of high-level officials. Shane Seeley has that story.
The 36th CARICOM Heads of Government meeting has started right here at the Lloyd Erskine Sanford Center, getting underway just after 10 o'clock this morning with a high-level strategic dialogue. Addressing that meeting, the Prime Minister Frendel Stuart, who outlined some of the aims of this critical three-day meeting.
We look beyond the outcome documents to implementation, bearing in mind our unique status as small island developing states. We focus closely on the means of implementation, issues such as access to financing, partnerships, building capacity, as well as legal, administrative, statistical, and other policy frameworks to support the effective implementation and monitoring of the Sustainable Development Goals, which will be agreed on.
He also went on to speak about examples of how CARICOM is moving ahead together and unified.
As we engage in our deliberations at this high-level dialogue, we do so with the conviction that our size does not determine the value of our contribution or our relevance, but rather that it is the quality of our ideas, our initiatives, our creativity, and our dynamism which distinguish us. Initiatives like the Caribbean Catastrophe Risk Insurance Facility, another example of Caribbean ideas and dynamism at work.
Meanwhile, in the feature address, the UN Secretary General Ban Ki-moon given a commitment to address Barbados and CARICOM's concerns. He says funding will be made a priority to address issues affecting small island developing states, especially regarding vulnerabilities to climate change.
Through the Green Climate Fund, GCF, and in working with world leaders, I will continue to press that seeds and least developed countries are top funding priorities. My main message to you today is to remain fully engaged and keep working with us to strengthen our partnership during this vital year for humanity.
Another highlight of this morning's proceedings, the unveiling of a special plaque commemorating the first UN Global Conference on Small Island Developing States held in Barbados almost exactly 21 years ago. Prime Minister Stewart says it's a constant reminder of the strength of small island states and their relevance to the international community. Shane Seeley, CBC News.
Shane, thank you. Well, CARICOM has to take decisive action to avert a developing humanitarian crisis between Haiti and the Dominican Republic. This strong view from CARICOM Secretary General Ambassador Erwin Laroque. He says the matter is of serious concern to the regional grouping.
The situation is just untenable, and also we are noting that a humanitarian crisis is developing by virtue of the fact that persons are going. I understand the latest figure of about 19 or 20,000 persons have gone back into Haiti, and to what kind of facilities. So it's an issue of concern to us.
Guyana will be putting a strong case to CARICOM for its support in the decades-old dispute between itself and Venezuela. The strong position from Guyana's President David Granger, who is attending his first heads of government meeting since winning at the polls in May.
It was settled in 1899. After the furor, as we call it, it was settled in 1899. And we are abiding by that settlement, and Venezuela must do so too. And Venezuela must desist from sending its gunboats into Guyana's waters and intimidating our investors. We are calling on CARICOM to call upon Venezuela to stop using force to implement its own spurious decrees to claim the exclusive economic zone of Guyana.
Well, Barbados has played a significant role in bringing the regional integration movement to the stage it is at. One of the key actors over the years has been former Prime Minister Sir Lloyd Sandiford. I spoke with Sir Lloyd, who gave an historical perspective on the movement. One of the things Sir Lloyd says Barbados was integral in was the formation of CARIFTA, the forerunner to today's single market and economy.
There are those who felt that the territories should work together and that they could achieve integration by means of coming together and forming ways to remain together to achieve the ends of integration by other means that were not federal.
Sir Lloyd says it was in the 90s when he put forward a proposal that saw not only the rotation of leadership, but also certain countries taking the lead on specific portfolios. So, for instance, under Sir Lloyd, Jamaica proposed that Barbados take the lead in the single market and economy.
And there were other areas as well. Jamaica became the lead in what was then called external negotiations with other entities, and it was distributed among them. Not only that, but that the intersessional meetings should take place, because if there are 15 territories and there's only one meeting, it will take 15 years for the feeling of being the leader of a particular subject would rotate.
According to him, that gave an immediate sense of countries playing a role in their own development.
This is a process of growth and development and educational expansion, the outgrowth of knowledge, which may hopefully lead to wisdom and understanding. And I wish the leaders well in this ongoing task of building us up as a people and working closer together.
And looking forward, Sir Lloyd told me what part he thinks the regional body has to play in order to move past the economic challenges it faces. He also thinks that growth and development should be agenda items number 1, 2, and 3 for this meeting. Well, Lisa, that is it from us here at the Barbados Hilton for the 36 Heads of Government Conference. What's happening now? They're having a cocktail reception behind me, and then tomorrow they will come back here for the meetings in caucus. So that's it here from the Barbados Hilton. On behalf of Peter Thorne, Sean Farrell, Michelle, and myself, the team here at the Hilton, that's it from us. Good night.
And thank you so much, Lisa. And we'll have more news in just a moment.
Dear Clark, I've made a fascinating discovery, the institutional water cooler. Its gravitational pull sucks people from their workstations at the busiest times of day to stand around it and chat about emerging global trends like, will pink be in fashion next season? Meanwhile, the world slows to a stop as it waits in line to be served. I don't see that trend at Globe Finance.
Globe Finance. Think outside the bank.
When it comes to their financial service, slow is out, swift is in.
It will be beer words at the 2015 Lime Cup Overreading Sunday, July 5th at Harrison's Cave, featuring beer drama, lyrics, poetry, short stories, truth, and more from beer Bayesian writers. Come and have beer sport with payday movie star and comedian Snapper. Chant beer lyrics with Asman. Catch beer feelings with Nart Springer and the ladies of Sexy Sensation. With beer vibes from Adrian Green, DJ Simmons, and Simon Pike together as Iron Pike. Hosted by the $2 Philosopher. Tickets $30 adults, $10 children 4 to 12 from ticketpal.com and all Cup Over box offices. Beer words at the Lime Cup Over Reading. Also sponsored by Corporators General Insurance. Sunday, July 5th at Harrison's Cave. Word fair and exhibition open at 6 p.m. Visit www.barbadoscupoverfestival.com for more details.
More great cities just got closer. The Scotiabank Aero Platinum MasterCard is now even better. Fly to New York, Miami, Orlando, and Fort Lauderdale with just 20,000 Scotia points. With your new Scotiabank Aero Platinum MasterCard, you'll receive a welcome bonus of 10,000 Scotia points, so you can enjoy the cities you love most sooner than ever. Apply today. Call 426-7000 or visit your nearest branch. Scotiabank. Discover what's possible.
Well, Monday, July 6 is D-Day in Barbados. That's when the National Union of Public Workers intends to shut down the country with a march and protest action. The union has called out its entire membership, as well as organizations and associations that are moved to join the cause. The call to action was issued this evening by the president, Akani McDowell.
As part of the process of fighting for the rights of workers and injustices of workers across Barbados, the NUPW is calling for the support of all stakeholders, including those persons in the General Public Service, statutory boards, the NUPW Retirees Division, the Barbados Association of Retired Persons, the Human Resources Association of Barbados, organizations, institutions, and civil society groups. The NUPW is embarking on mass protest action on Monday, July 6, 2015 at 8:30 p.m. a.m.
United Nations Secretary General Ban Ki-moon has expressed outrage at the level of child sexual abuse and gender-based violence recorded in the region. Quoting UN statistics, he revealed that the Caribbean has one of the highest rates of sexual assault, with 3 regional territories ranking in the top 10 countries in the world. Mr. Ban also estimates that the rate of child sexual abuse in the Eastern Caribbean to be between 25% to 35%, with at least 1 in every 5 children being affected, most of them girls. He spoke about the issue during a visit to UN House Barbados. UN Women and the government of Barbados have signed a memorandum of understanding to help local police and the judiciary improve access to justice for victims of gender-based violence.
The memorandum of understanding being signed by the Office of the Attorney General and UN Women will boost our joint efforts to end gender-based violence. It will give women greater access to justice, and it will help end impunity.
In related news, Attorney General Adriel Brathwaite has announced how the justice system will be cracking down on gender and sexual abuse here in Barbados. He says government is moving to establish a special court to deal specifically with family law issues.
Our vision is that what we want is that when someone comes before the criminal justice system, that they're exposed to a cadre of trained individuals who are sensitive to the needs, especially of the needs of women and boys and girls, to make sure that they receive the kind of sensitivity that is required. We do not want, and we have heard oft times of women in particular, find it very difficult to relate to law enforcement personnel, relate to judicial process, because having been victims, they feel like they're further victimized because of the nature of the treatment that they've received.
Well, the Barbados Hotel and Tourism Association is seeking a solution to the sargassum seaweed problem. The BHTA says it is gravely concerned about the latest threat to the island's tourism product. In a release, the association says it is working tirelessly to find a solution to the very real threat being posed by the sargassum seaweed. The BHTA's CEO, Sue Springer, says the problem of sargassum seaweed on our beaches is now at the top of the association's agenda, as it is not only affecting visitors to the island, but is also posing a problem for locals. She says hotels on the south and east coasts are doing all they can to battle the issue by way of beach cleanups, with some renting equipment and others even employing additional workers in that area. Ms. Springer says some properties have also found uses for the seaweed in their gardens, nurseries and golf courses. And one property is looking at the possibility of using a boom to prevent it from reaching the shore. She adds that the BHTA has also been in discussions with private and public sector agencies, including the Ministry of Tourism, the Barbados Tourism Product Authority, the Barbados Tourism Marketing Inc., and the National Conservation Commission to try to find a solution. The head of the BHTA says they have received a number of proposals on possible solutions, but most of them will call for the importation of extremely expensive equipment and will require national support from both the private and public sectors. She has made it clear that the sargassum seaweed is not an individual's or government's challenge, and that the association stands ready to help whenever possible. The CEO said if there was no way to solve the problem permanently, the next step would be to find a solution to prevent the seaweed from encroaching onto the beaches. And still to come, a look at some of the stories making headlines across our region.
The time is near for the world's greatest soca event, the Flow Soca on the Hill at the Folly Hill National Park, Barbados. Come see the Queen of Bacchanal, Destra, Lil Rick, Ricardo Drew, RPB, Biggie Irie, Skinny Fabulous, Soca Sensations, Leadpipe and Status, Benjai, King Bubba FM, and still the best of Crop Over 2015 still to come. Get your early bird tickets now from official box offices before the price goes up. Sunday, July 19th, the Flow Soca on the Hill.
When you need space to grow, there's nothing like the home you own. Let Scotiabank open the door for you with competitive rates and support every step of the way. Visit us today and discover what's possible.
Parents, are you tired of the hustle of back-to-school shopping? Then take your child's book list to one of Bryden's 3 locations, and their friendly staff will readily find your textbooks and school supplies for you. Bryden's, the trusted name that means books plus stationery.
A beautiful swift desire to be won at A1 Supermarkets.
Fall in love with your desire and win it
by including Quaker, Aunt Jemima, or Stacy's in your shopping with a minimum spend of $50.
Win what you desire and drive into A1 Supermarkets at 6:30 a.m. to open doors. Proper. Details in store.
Suzuki from Simpson Motors. Coming up on Festival Stage on Friday morning at 11 o'clock here on CBC TV 8. If you've got questions or queries of the Crop Over Festival, he probably has all the answers. CEO of the National Cultural Foundation.